He's playing on high ping. Yo.
How streaming caused the TV writer's strike.
Daytime xQc aware.
Ouais, attends, Hassan. Oh non, non.
What's gotten us to this place is the rug was pulled out from under writers and to a degree actors in the last 10, 15 years. It's the advent of streaming.
Chat question.
Age of
Chat. I saw on Twitter Hassan reacting to clips of that are on Kick with full band streamers. How can you do that? Are you allowed to do that now? To watch full-on VODs of people that are banned? Like, I don't get it.
Television.
One of the first streaming original shows was House of Cards. Spoiler alert, when they pushed Kate Mara in front of that train, it seemed like groundbreaking television. And it was fast-paced, and it looked beautiful, and it had huge stars.
Artistically, it's opened up the world. Maybe there used to be 80 shows in a year. Now you're up to 500, 550 shows in a year. And for writers, it was good because it gave people entry.
And a lot of those people were diverse young voices who Hollywood said, oh, you should come out to move to LA or New York, places where the cost of living is extremely high and you have a seat at the table that for years created careers for people. Now, it doesn't exist like that anymore.
What's the difference between a network show and a streaming show? Network is the TV we all grew up with, ABC, NBC, CBS. And it's the season that begins in September and runs 22 episodes and ends in May. That's a season, especially for procedurals that everyone knows, like Grey's Anatomy or CSI. TV seasons always began in September. And that had something to do with auto sales, by the way. The new car seasons came out and they were going to advertise heavily, so you wanted new TV.
The network model worked for a very long time and gave people a...
I feel like he dumbed that down so much, I don't even know what the fuck is the relevance. If you get a car, you want a new TV?
Stable career.
I broke in on Law & Order Criminal Intent. I was on staff there 4 years, became showrunner there. So you get paid by the episode or by the week.
Ads.
So you'll make $15,000, and I thought that was it. I didn't know they meant for every episode. I didn't understand what I'd stumbled into. So I was able to make a living, start raising a family in New York. I think those doors have closed now. So the upside of streaming creatively was you didn't have to worry about commercial breaks.
Hold on, I'm on this, hold on.
We have 5 commercial breaks in an hour of TV. Something has to happen at the end of that act to make sure people come back. Your writing has to conform to the advertising that pays for it. If you write for streaming, you don't have to worry about commercial breaks. You get to write a different structure. Maybe it's just an organic 3-act structure to an hour. Now you're down to 8-episode runs, 6-episode runs. Shorter seasons where you could arc a story across 8 episodes. You can go a little darker, you can go a little deeper. That part of it was great, and writers from movies flocked to it, and novels flocked to it.
But as the episode orders
this is good though.
have shrunk, what used to be 40 weeks out of the year that you were working is now 20 weeks. So try having to go from finding 1 job a year to finding multiple jobs a year to maintain the same status quo that you previously had. It's tough.
I don't think anyone's asking to go back to 20-episode seasons, but the stability and the longevity of those jobs is the model that we're asking for and that we think is best for writers.
Wait. Okay, so, no, it's not that you need multiple jobs. Wait, you can have the same job, you just have to find people that, and then you have to orchestrate, you have to schedule it, right? But at the same, it's the same workload.
And best for the product.
No?
Can you explain what's changed?
I mean, on paper, it's the same workload if you work the same amount of hours.
The function of the writer's room is the exact same. Like, it is a group of writers coming together to break story, to craft a season, and to write episodes of television. When you get your first job writing on a TV show, you're almost always a staff writer, which is the lowest level in the room, and then the next rung on the ladder is story editor, from story editor to executive story editor,
Yes, the one job is shorter, right? But if you have 3 of them and you layer them, it ends up being the same workload. It's segmented, that's all, right?
Producer, producer, supervising producer, co-executive producer, and then executive producer is the highest, and showrunner, obviously.
The creative process is people coming together, having a conversation about, is it a dark comedy, is it 1 hour, is it a half hour?
Breaking story and really writing your whole season. The next phase is production, when you bring all of your crew together, bring all of your actors, grab your directors, and you shoot the TV show. And then the final stage is post-production, when you take that thing you shot, you sit with your editor.
Okay, wait a minute.
Turn it into what people see on TV.
Okay,
Broadcast.
chat. I don't want to sound like I'm entitled or like or that I'm saying the problems are nothing. But isn't it the same for people who do camera work, everything else? Like people who do camera work, like aren't they showing up on the job and getting the same, if not even less hours than before? Like if there's less episodes, whatever, there's less film, so there's less filming. So that same applies to these guys that use the camera. So where's their strike?
Shows kind of used to be the entire TV space. So if you were on a show like Law & Order SVU, or if you were on a show like Friends, your show was being filmed, it was in production concurrently while you were in the writer's room.
Writers are going back and forth and really learning the ropes of what it is to produce a TV show. You know, and it might be in the moment when you're watching a scene and an actor might come up to you and say like, this line just isn't working for me. The job of the writer at that moment is to talk to the actor, figure out what isn't working, and write them a new line.
The writer is working with the actor at all times.
Okay, check. If the space changes and the system, the infrastructure changes, right? Then, I mean, what's the solution? I don't know. It's still freelance.
Character.
People have to
He's
adapt.
meeting the actor that was cast.
No.
And should be there when that actor is giving life to those words.
Financially, of course it would cost studios to keep writers on and to pay those extra weeks to keep doing their job. It seems like their favorite place to cut the budget is with writers, robbing them of creativity and robbing them of people training up to be the showrunners of future shows.
Writers are now being separated from...
Wait, that makes no sense at all. Wait, I'm so confused. So you're telling me that everything shortens, but that only affects the writers. How does that not affect the camera crews? How does if these guys have less to work, how does that not affect them? I don't. He said it does, but only them are getting cut.
Favorite place to cut the budget is with writers, robbing them of creativity and robbing them of people training up to be the showrunners of future shows.
Writers are now being separated from production, employed for fewer weeks.
Fewer weeks means less income. And when a show like Game of Thrones costs so much money and takes so much time to make, that's a longer period of time between seasons. And so that means these writers have a longer period of time before they are employed again.
Story-wise, there is something nice.
Wait, so if there's 500 shows, then I'm sure there's other job opportunities they can fill to make that gap up. If you know for a fact your job ends here and you have no job for all of this, can't they make sure they have another block right there and just bing, bing, bing as best as they can? I mean, what? That's not 3 jobs. That's still 1 full-time job. It just
about
one after the other.
Having all of your episodes written before you start to produce. It really gives you a nice scope of the season. You know where all your locations are going to be. And if something happens in the last episode of your
I'm
season.
so confused. Bro, this is like contractual work / contractor / being a freelancer. That's how these people make ends meet. This is their job description, is to adapt and be able to make it work. It's part of not having to deal with all the rest of the bullshit of other jobs have, right? No, I don't get it. Am I confusing?
That you realize there's a nice way to plant early in the season. You can go and play with that episode. On the other hand, not having your writers continue to be there and do the work that happens in production hurts the production and it hurts the writers.
There was this staff writer who was on The Bear, which is a streaming show on Hulu, and he had a story about how...
Fuck it, last pause. Okay, then what you guys are asking me then is that technically, if you think this is evil, then I'm evil too then. Because I employ some guy to make emotes for me, right? And I stopped for months because we don't need any new emotes, right? Because emotes are now, we are pretty much capped out. And then later on, I rehired them to get more emotes or whatever, right? I mean, I have to pay for all their living expenses and I have to give them hundreds of thousands of dollars for the years or months that they didn't work in between, because then I only employed them here and over there. And in between, they have no job. So now I'm evil. I'm letting them down. How's that not the same? I don't get it. My artist said not the same? Oh, okay.
Now, after working in this room, even though it was this critically acclaimed show and they were winning an award, he went to the award show broke and had to rent a bow tie. What I thought was so interesting about that story was that it wasn't the pay per se that was the issue in that.
Hey, here's the actual chat way to do this shit, right? What the fuck? Oh, never mind.
Wasn't the pay per se that was the issue in that situation. It was the length of the room. So you went from having 40 weeks of guaranteed work to maybe 8 to 10.
It is always very difficult to work in our industry. Writers, directors, actors often have long stretches of idle time.
Periods where you're either looking for your next job, the next room that you're going to go write in, or the next feature that you're going to pitch. Residual checks are what let you do that.
Residuals, which are how actors and writers tide themselves over during lean times, have basically been decimated. When TV first began, there was a big strike in 1960, and that strike resulted in writers getting residuals. The reason my network residual is so healthy is because that was negotiated a long time ago when that was the only other way an episode could be rewatched. If you wrote for Friends or Seinfeld, these shows that are on all the time,
every single time it's used, you get a check.
The number of runs your show has, the size of the check decreases. The show is generating income for NBC Universal, and so you will see some of that income. Now streaming comes in, and there's
okay. So if you do good, it goes hard. If you don't, it doesn't. So it's like, right?
A terrible formula.
If you work on a good thing and you go hard, it goes hard.
Sale from the studio to the stream.
So is it a skill issue then?
It sits on the platform for a year and you get one check no matter how many times it's watched.
If you write a show for Hulu, you get paid to write it, and you might see
not anymore.
$400 for the next 3 years, as opposed to a network rerun, which might be, for an hour show, might be $24,000.
I have talked to fellow writers who came up years before, and it was the difference between buying a house or not, between sending your kid to school or not, and for me it just seems like this pipe dream of getting residuals for the work that I've done.
Chat, hold up. Chat, I'm gonna get canceled for this take, okay? But I'm gonna say it anyway. What if companies say, okay, fuck all of y'all, then nobody's hired anymore, because they know it, they think and know for a fact somebody will do it. If it's not somebody like them, somebody else will do it, right? And then someone will come in and they'll do boom, 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 and they'll find a way to make it to make it, and then they'll boom, 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 and the show will still run. What? That's just what? Guys, that's kind of like how corporate sees people, disposable, right? So that a motherfucker guy comes in, boom, contract to do this, boom, 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 and it gets done, right? That's just how it's gonna turn out, I feel like. No? Whatever. Is that a sweatshop take?
This strike seems to be catching fire because it mirrors the discontent a lot of workers feel about this yawning wage gap between the top and the bottom.
Then the shows are bad, then they readjust, and the world has an equilibrium. Boom.
Secondarily, but correlated, is that it's about the art that we're making. And if we're not given the time and the resources that we need to make good television, you're not going to have the diversity of voices, the diversity of ideas.
I think that we want to make sure that art isn't coming from only voices who can afford to do this as a job.
The AMTP-TPT member companies remain united in the desire to reach an ideal is mutually beneficial to the writers and the health and longevity of the industry. And award 1,000. Okay, so generally, do people expect the companies to give a non-adaptive salary of the current market that is based on the old market that they don't make money off of because of ads to the new one, and then go operate at a loss until the company goes bankrupt and everybody's fired at the same time? I mean, I don't get it. Is that the point, that they just speedrun bankruptcy and then fire everybody at once?
I got into writing because I was an actor and still am.
I worked on The Adventures of Puss in Boots, Trolls, The Beat Goes On.
Channel Zero for Sci-Fi. I did a bunch of CBS procedurals, and most recently I was the showrunner of One of Us is Lying on Peacock.
Law and Order Criminal Intent. Then I went to In Treatment and did a show called Lights Out for FX. And then I wandered back into the Law and Order family and went to SVU.
On June 16th, 2000.
Interesting. Okay. Feeling down, can't seem to shake it. Weight on my chest, I can't fake it. Life's so hard. Sometimes it feels just like